It is, what is it? It is Monday, June 10th. And I'm kind of vamping, stalling a little bit, hopefully giving people time to find this video and get online with us and make sure that the audio is working correctly. All right, so if it's your first time joining me, I am Rebekah Beneteau, the founder of Pleasure Evolution, where I am creating a world full of empowered people by assisting you to cultivate your sexual authenticity. Yum, yum. That's my goal. That's my dream, to expand our awareness around what is possible with our bodies, our arousal, our heart, and uniting all of that to really like step free of the shackles that we've been bound by in terms of other people's viewpoints about what we should do in our sex life. Hey there, Maxine, will you give me a thumbs up to let me know that you can hear me okay? Because I've had some volume issues in the past. I've had some sound issues. So if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. And if you can't hear me, if I sound really weird, type me a message. Okay. Well, so here I am, and what do I want to talk about today? So I do these broadcasts every week, covering different areas about how you can increase your sexual and romantic life. And what I wanted to talk about today is I'm going to be answering a letter from my email inbox, okay? I love this letter so much, and you're going to hear why. Dear Rebekah, I feel like I'm dead. There seems to be no communication between my brain and my penis anymore. I rarely think about sex, and I haven't even masturbated in a long time. Because of this, my wife of 3 years and I have never had sex. I'm 61 and overweight. She says it's okay because she's not that interested in sex, but she loves the sex scene in movies. I know some of, if not a lot of it, for me is mental. Thank you. Bob. Okay, so there's a bunch of things. I mean, this just gives me so many things that I want to talk about. The very first thing I want to talk about is the way that my first response to Bob was, do you have a question? Because if you listen to the text of this email, he's not really asking a question. And this is what a lot of us do. We state the problem and we start living in the problem. So in the first place, I want to talk about how energy works in the universe, right? The idea is, we've heard the expression, like attracts like, right? Birds of a feather flock together. The idea is that whatever you are putting out into the universe is what you are going to get back. The world is like this giant echo chamber. So if you say, I feel dead from the waist down, the universe hears, oh, he feels dead from the waist down. Let's give him more of that. So whatever you're speaking out is what you are going to get. That's one thing that I want to tell you about. The other, and in this state, he's stating a given that life is bad. These are the things that are going on, but there's no curiosity about what could be different. I mean, what else is possible here? So number one thing is, and if this is you, and I imagine that there are people listening to this and watching this right now for whom this is your reality. If you're having some issues with your libido, rather than stating this is a fact, I'm so pathetic, life is so difficult, it's like, what is this? What can I do with it? So when I wrote back, Bob did write back to me and say, well, can you help me? And the answer is, I can help you through coaching, through energy work, and you can also begin to help yourself. So what I want to talk about is what's going on when there seems to be no communication between his brain and his penis, and he says, I'm 61 and I'm overweight. So one of the first things, if you're experiencing problems with your libido, is to get your hormones checked. A lot of men are suffering from low levels of testosterone, which are going to affect your levels of sexual arousal. It's going to affect blood flow to your penis. So if you do not have sufficient levels of testosterone, you're already starting from a deficit. So here are a couple of things that you can do to start. If you're overweight, that's number one thing you got to start working on if you want to increase testosterone. The extra weight that you're carrying around is going to affect your breathing. It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect your circulation, all of which are going to affect your sexual performance. There's another thing that's going on here. If you are overweight and unhealthy, chances are the woman in your life is less attracted to you. One of the things that happens in the man-woman game is that men respond to women's turn-on. It's part of why men are so attracted to pornography, because they are looking at pictures of women in a state of arousal. And then the man echoes back. Here's another place where this is like call and response. So what you are calling for in the universe is then responding. What a woman is calling for in the bedroom, the masculine is responding. If you're not caring for your body, if you're not creating intimacy each and every day with the woman that you live with, she's not going to be attracted to you, and she's not going to be radiating that turned on energy. So you're not going to feel turned on because there's no place for you to spend that libido. Okay? So getting started on addressing your weight. Losing weight, however, this is the paradox. This is really interesting, which is, I still haven't gotten a little asterisk. I don't know. Is my sound going through? We'll see. Paradoxically, losing weight will help you if you are overweight. However, the stress of dieting actually decreases testosterone. So there are a couple of things that can naturally increase your testosterone. Okay, thing number one, exercise and lifting weights. I know if you're anything like me, you're like, exercise. And especially if you're out of shape and overweight, exercise can feel insurmountable. So what I want to suggest is, this is pretty crazy, but I am very concerned about whether or not my camera is working. Okay. So exercise. You can start small, but don't use that as an excuse to not start at all, right? So exercise can look like starting to walk every day. Exercise can look like joining a gym. Exercise can look like taking water aerobics if you have joint issues and you can't do a sport. But these are tested tools that they have observed will raise your testosterone levels. Okay, here's another thing that will raise your libido and testosterone. If testosterone level is the cause of your libido, and once we get through some of these physical health things, I'm going to start to talk more about emotional, mental, and spiritual health. But so for right now, we're talking about the physical factors that are contributing to low libido. Eating a balance of protein, fat, and carbs can increase your testosterone. Too much protein will decrease your testosterone. So you don't want to, number one, be losing excessive amounts of weight, and you don't want to be eating a purely beef-based, protein-based diet. You want a combination, but you also don't want a lot of sugar. Sugar isn't going to help you. So when I say carbs, we're talking about complex carbohydrates in the forms of vegetables and whole grains, like Ezekiel bread, like a true whole wheat or sprouted grain pasta, quinoa, some of the more basic. And there's lots of websites that'll have a lot of nutrition, and you can look all of this up. Third one, huge factor, minimize your stress. So if you are walking around with a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of adrenaline running, it's going to impact your libido. Plain and simple. What can you do to let some of the steam out of the system? Oddly enough, men are used to using sex to let some aggression and steam out of the system. So I want you to see, where can you reduce your stress? Meditation is a great way to start cultivating some peace. Getting out in nature. Now we can check off 2 boxes on our list. One is exercise and the other is reducing stress. How, I want to say something about giving stuff up, because it's usually really hard to let stuff go and give stuff up. It's a lot easier to add stuff in, to add good stuff in. Oh, I just noticed how shiny I am. I'm so well moisturized. Okay, so adding in the good stuff. If you add in a walk every day, you have less time to sit around static on the couch. If you add more healthy foods into your diet, you're not going to have the cravings for junk food that you've been having. One thing I found really has worked for me in changing how I eat, is to spend a little bit of time once a week preparing healthy snacks so that I have stuff in my fridge all the time that's healthier to grab when I'm hungry. Having rice made already, having cans of ready-made beans, things that I can easily throw together to make a dinner that is going to be supportive and nutritious for my body. So minimizing your stress. What are some things that you like to do that you haven't been doing, that you haven't been letting yourself do because you're so busy trying to solve some sort of problem in your life? How about putting that problem on the shelf, letting it work itself out, and investing yourself a little bit more in your hobbies? This is the whole point behind Pleasure Evolution, you guys. Do what gets your panties wet. So a great way to minimize your stress is to start looking at some of the things that you enjoy doing that are fun for you and do more of them. Did you used to play a musical? Do you enjoy playing golf, but you've stopped? Do you like to sing? Do you like to dance? So start introducing some of these things in. If it's something that you can do with your partner, even better. If there's low libido in your couple, doing things that are fun and doing more fun things with your partner are going to start to increase the heat and increase the turn on. So, decreasing stress. Next one, there have been some studies done that have proved that vitamin D, that we are all actually functioning at a somewhat vitamin D deficiency, because the only place we get vitamin D from is the sun. It's not something you get from your food. And because we don't want to get cancer, well, a lot of us don't spend a lot of time out in the sun. So vitamin D supplementation is something that's good for everyone. Recommended levels are 2,000 to 3,000 IUs a day, taken with food because it absorbs better, taken with your largest meal of the day. Talk to your doctor, look around online and find a supplement, and then ask your body. This is another thing. Body, do you need vitamin D? Body, do you want to take vitamin D? And notice, do you feel expanded? Do you feel lighter? Does it feel like a yes? Or does it feel contracted and dense, feel like a no? I also have talked about this on lots of my other shows. Muscle testing is great. I do it by linking my fingers like so, asking a question and then trying to pull them apart, or you can hold them over the food or the supplement that you want to eat. If you cannot pull it apart, that means strong, that means it's yes. Is this good for me? Yes means I can't pull my fingers apart. Is it bad for me? Should I take up smoking? Yeah, no matter how hard I try to keep my fingers together, I don't get a yes on that one. Try it. It could be really fun. Since we're talking about this, I'm going to talk about listening to your body as a way to increase your libido. Ask your body, ask your cock, what's going on here? What do you want me to pay attention to? What do you need? And then be willing to listen for those little glimmers of answers that you get. All right, so moving on. We've had exercise. We've got a balance of protein, carbs, fat, low in sugar, minimizing stress, taking vitamin D, listening to your body, doing things that light you up. And now we're going to add in getting enough quality rest. And that number is different from everyone. And, they used to say you needed like 7 to 10 hours a night for good rest. I know a lot of people that sleep 5, and that's actually good enough for them. But And are you getting really good quality sleep? That's the key. Allowing yourself to sleep the amount that your body needs. And a big part of that, I find, is sleep hygiene. So that means turning all your screens off about an hour before you actually go to bed. No computer, no TV, no cell phone. And do something else. This could be a good time for your meditation. This is a good time to read a book. Just anything that you can do that will wind you down. Maybe you have a ritual. I have a ritual of flossing and brushing my teeth, washing my face, moisturizing my face. Those kinds of things wind me down so that when I do go to sleep, it's a quality sleep. If you're having sleep issues, if you're having difficulty falling asleep, you might want to look at the amount of caffeine that you're taking in during the day. You again want to look at your stress and cortisol levels. What can you do to take yourself into slumber in a relaxed and good way? So getting enough rest and enough quality rest, that's different for everyone. It could be anywhere from 4 to 10 hours. And I find that amount really varies depending on what's going on in my life, the time of year, my diet, things like that. So getting good quality rest. There are a couple of supplements. Now, I'm not in the business of recommending supplements, but nutritionists have found that ashwagandha, which is an Indian herb, and ginger, which is a very easily and readily available herb, are two things that can boost testosterone. So you might look for a tea with those things in it. You might start incorporating ginger as a spice into your diet, or raw ginger into your food, cut up into and sautéed into foods. When you go out to the Asian restaurant, there are often foods with a ginger sauce. Try it out. See if you like it. See if you like how it tastes. And last but not least, avoiding estrogen-creating foods will help you to boost your libido if testosterone is the issue. So what creates estrogen? Soy-based foods. Soy milk, tofu, soybeans, all of those are things that if you are low in testosterone, you want to minimize your estrogen intake. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you want to eat other things that will supplement you. Other beans, basically. Beans are a really important source of protein for a vegetarian diet. Okay, cool. So that's the physical stuff. That's what might be going on if testosterone is your issue. But what else could be going on? I've said this before. An erect penis is mutually owned. What does that mean? That means if there isn't an erect penis in the bed, chances are the woman doesn't want one. She's just not saying that. Now, in this letter, and I'm going to go back to the letter, right? I feel like I'm dead. There seems to be no communication between my brain and my penis anymore. We're going to talk about that, Bob, in a minute. I rarely think about sex. I haven't even masturbated. My wife says she's okay with us not having sex. So it's entirely possible that the woman you're with is not interested in penetrative sex. She might, however, be interested in other kinds of intimacy if you made it look safe and fun enough for her to surrender into it. Or she may not. And the question is, are you okay with it? If there's no communication happening between your penis and your brain, how do you get that started again? First of all, I want to say that the brain is somewhat over, what's the word I want? Okay, I'm going to go in a different direction. Guys, you cannot think, you don't think yourself into orgasm. I know it looks like you do, because you see an attractive woman, you get a boner. You watch porn, you get a boner. But that's actually a learned and triggered response. What your system is looking for is an energetic level of turn on. It's looking for something, some energy coming your way that lights you up, that tells the cells of your body, wake up, we want to come and play. So pornography can be a really good substitute because you see things happening that your brain interprets as pleasurable, sends a message down to your body. But far more effective is actually being willing to be in the energetic swim of turn on, right? And that is available to everyone. And it doesn't necessarily need a partner for you to start learning how that works. It starts, so if you feel like your brain is not communicating to your penis, great. Let's not worry about the brain. Let's worry about the body communicating with the penis. The penis communicating with itself. You being available, heart, mind, soul, to hear what your penis wants to tell you. When's the last time you actually loved on your penis, not for the purpose of getting off, releasing stress, proving you still got it, whatever motivation you have for wanting to ejaculate, that is anything other than the fact that you want to feel as good as possible for as long as possible. And this is not what little boys are taught growing up about relating to their bodies and relating to their penis. You're taught this thing jumps up right in puberty. It's got a mind of its own, and you have to do something about it. You're driven by your testosterone, and the idea is, let me get off as quickly as possible before someone comes knocking on the bathroom door and I get found out. This is how male bodies have been trained to have sex. So developing a loving relationship with your own body and with your own penis is going to make you a better lover and make it more likely that you're going to have a better experience when you do get with a partner or your partner. So let's not worry about communication from the brain, communication from the body. How do you do that? First of all, you let all of your senses be affected. What might happen if you looked at your body in the mirror, not with an eye for what's wrong with it, not with condemnation for your love handles, not with condemnation definitely for your size or the crooked twist or whatever else you got going on, but just wow, hello, penis. I love you. Thank you so much for being a part of my life for 61 years. You know, it's really great. You and me, we've been together. And I want to get in communication and communion with you now. Right? So that's sight. And now you want to get into touch and not touching yourself with any goal in mind other than to see what feels good. See, these are ways that you spark up your libido. Cool. Someone said BJ's help. Haha. Help. Well, that's true. Getting response from somebody else, getting someone else to play and relate to your penis is a great way to bring it about. But what if you don't have a partner? Or what if your partner for the moment seems uninterested? Far better than trying to get them interested in you is for you to begin to become aware of your body. What pleasures your body? And then if you are in a relationship, like Bob has a partner who doesn't seem to be interested in sex with him right now, I would be really curious about what does turn her on and what she does like. If you have a partner who seems like she's not responsive to sex, and then in exchange, and then follows that you're not interested in sex because she's not interested in sex, how can the two of you begin to jumpstart your intimacy? He says in his letter that she likes the sex scenes in movies. So how about having conversations about those sex scenes? Hey, what'd you like about that? Would you ever like to do that with me? Would you like me to do that to you? Oh, and while we're talking about it, could I rub your feet? Just see, getting your connection of intimacy has to be genitally oriented to how can I connect with my partner in a way that is going to bring her body alive and awake. And that means starting at the very edges of her and working your way in and down until you get to those typical erogenous zones. Like, what a great experiment that might be if you're a man who's suffering from low libido. Ask your woman if she'd be willing to do an experiment. And that experiment is that you want to see if you can turn on your body by turning on her body. And that you're just really curious to see what turns on her body. And that you want to become an expert in lighting up and turning on her body. And just doing all these experiments and all these research and coming with this sense of curiosity. Do you like it when I touch you here? Do you like it when I touch you here? Is your right breast more sensitive than your left breast? How do they like to be touched? Like, this is about communication between bodies. Sex is about communication between bodies. It's not about communication between minds. Although you can really get lit up and turned on by somebody else's mind, and that translates into a feeling of aliveness in your body. I get all excited about that. I get all excited doing these videos, right? Because I'm talking about something that I'm really passionate and excited about. And when I'm with someone else who feels that same excitement, I mean, I have a male friend, he's gay, so he's primarily interested in male bodies, but something happens when I'm around him. He's willing to feel all of his body and like let that energy radiate. And that's a huge turn on to be around. And we are probably never going to spend it in any activity that involves genitals. But boy, our hugs are fulfilling. So, so if that's what's going on, there also could be, if she doesn't want to have sex, I talked about this a million times, she could be mad at you, she could be bored, so all of these things. But if you can spark up the woman that you're with, it will in turn spark up your libido, right? The last part, so then he said, you know, can you help me? These are all things, I want you to have tools and things that you can use yourself. And if you need to take it a step further, working with a coach or a body worker is a really great way to go. If you don't have someone who's touching you on a regular basis, if you don't have a partner, or if you do, but you feel like it would be something that could enhance your partnership, to have a body worker help you, or a tantrika help you get back into the aliveness of your own body. So as a coach, I'll work with, if he were my client, right, and we were on a phone call, we'd start to work with what kind of body shame is he carrying? What self-judgments is he carrying? What are the obstacles to him having a good relationship with his body now? What things could he be doing? What things turn him on now that he hasn't been willing to experience? Oh my God, I wanted to do something. I've been reading this great book called The Gentleman's Club by Gary Douglas and Dane Here. They are the founders of Access Consciousness, and you can read all about them at accessconsciousness.com. And this is a fantastic book. It's actually based on a class which was a bunch of men. And one of the things that one of the men asked a question about what to do about decreased libido. And what he says is, he's talking about how you have too much attention on yourself. Like, start looking around for the things that turn you on. Look at what are the aspects of a woman that turn you on. And then just because you're looking at her, just because you're noticing her, don't put that out on her that she then has an obligation, but just allowing that to enliven you. And they do these clearings, right? And so for more information about that, you can go to theclearingstatement.com for more information. But this is basically a statement that invokes energy, and it goes beyond your rational brain. So here we go. This is the clearing I really wanted you guys to get. What stupidity are you using to defend for and against the galvanic responses, the stimulating touches, and the invigorating possibilities that would alter your limited sexual capacities you are choosing? All right? What stupidity are you using? And by stupidity, they mean, what lies have you bought into? What judgments have you bought into that you're using to defend this stuck place you are in your sexuality? Because you don't have to stay stuck there. What's a galvanic response? That's what I'm talking about. That's what your body feels when suddenly something lights you up. When you get that little, even if it's a little twitch in your cock, right? Whatever is lighting you up. So that's a galvanic response. Where are you not using stimulating touches to yourself, to your partner? And what invigorating possibilities are you just not using, not choosing for whatever reason? What stupidity are you using to defend for and against the galvanic responses, the stimulating touches, and the invigorating possibilities that would alter your limited sexual capacities are you choosing? And everything that is times a gazillion will destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So here's another question. What physical actualization of creating your body as a fucking machine could you be choosing that you're not choosing? And everything that doesn't allow that to show up at times a gazillion, destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So that is the question of the hour, my friends, my beloved men. What energy, space, and consciousness can me and this body be to be the sexually dynamic, invigorated and invigorating love machine that I want to be? Yeah? So all of it's still possible for you. I'm not willing to buy into the life choice that the only thing available to you just because you're 61 is that you can't get a harden anymore and there's no sex happening. That's one reality. It's not the only reality. And if you want to come and play in more realities than that, please keep watching my videos. Come visit my website. You can get a free half-hour consult over the phone with me to see if my coaching and modalities will work for you. If you've enjoyed this video, please, my beloveds, share it with people that you know, because the more people that are up and aware and enjoying the fullness of the sexuality that they could be having, the happier the world is. So pleasure evolution. Let us all evolve together and enjoy the lives and the bodies and the capacity for turn on that we've been given. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up for now. Thank you all for tuning in. Visit me at pleasureevolution.com, here on Facebook at facebook.com, Sex, King, and Intimacy, the YouTube channel, Pleasure Evolution TV, and I will be back in 2 weeks on Monday at 2 o'clock with a very special guest. Please join me to as I talk to Patty Alfonso, the founder of Pole Dancing for Consciousness, and we are going to be talking about how can you live the sexualness that you are, how can you receive more sex, and where are we defending against other people's sexual feelings about us and for us, and therefore limiting our capacity to receive not just love, romance, and sexuality, but also money and everything else that's fabulous, awareness and consciousness included. So join me in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining me. Now, I'm Rebekah Beneteau.